Hello, as usual, it's me Pavlo, and today we'll be talking about yet another interesting audio gadget, and it's a portable digital to analog converter and amplifier Shanling H7. It's Shanling's portable DAC amp combo flagship, and it's of course closest rival of FIO Q7. It's a bit more expensive. Its current price is $830 on Amazon, and it's built with that new AK chip 4499EX, EQ, or whatever it's called. Also, it has a relatively powerful amplifier up to 1.2 milliwatts. Watts, of course, up to 1.2 watts for 33 ohms of impedance. Good set of inputs, outputs, and one of the signature features of this device is that you can put a micro SD card inside, and it doesn't have a big nice screen, so it's not a player completely, but you can control it with Eddict Player from your smartphone or other device, and it will be playing music from this local SD card. So really promising features, pretty high price, but of course a lot of high expectations. So let's have a closer look. So let's have a closer look at packaging, and first thing that is really noticeable, that box is much smaller than FIO's Q7. If you remember Q7, if you don't remember, you can check out my review, but Q7's box was really big with a lot of stuff inside, and here we have much more compact box. So let's go in. So maybe it's logical because Shanling didn't make outstanding power as one of main sales features, because for Q7 we got that stand, we got external power supply unit. Here it's just a portable digital to analog converter first of all. So here is the device itself, but let's go deeper. So two boxes. Actually, the second one is even not a box. Cable adapter for the coaxial out, some papers, glue, sticky feet made of silicone, really nice pouch. You know, I had that pseudo velvet, but this one is much closer to natural and it feels super pleasant. And also USB Type-C to USB Type-C cable, a short one, of course, to connect it to some smartphone or stuff like that. And here, my bet is that here will be longer USB cable, but I can be wrong, so let's see. Yep. It's USB Type-A to USB Type-C cable to connect to your laptop, for example, for charging and other stuff. So accessory set is pretty nice in my opinion. In terms of size, this digital to analog converter and amplifier is pretty small for all features and power it has. I don't have a Q7 right now, but I have M17, which is really close to Q7 in terms of size, and you can see that H7 is smaller in all dimensions, because they limited the power. They don't have this ultra boost power mode, just 1.2 watts maximum, and about 8 to 10 hours of work, 8 on balance, 10 on single-ended. But actually in real life it depends on USB or Bluetooth and so on, and usually in USB it's up to 7 and up to 9 for me, so it really depends on many circumstances. And what is also interesting here, as far as I understood, here inside used 18640 accumulator batteries, which is pretty good. They are pretty easily replaceable. It's standard and there are a lot of offers on the market, so after a long time you'll be able actually to replace them, at least hypothetically. Also, it has nice shape, Shanling's design, which is, in my opinion, a bit more refined, because Fio uses this angled shapes everywhere, and Shanling uses that rounded edges that feels really good in hand. On the rear panel we have line out, we have digital input, you've seen that coaxial adapter, and also two USB slots, one for charging, second one to connect it as digital to analog converter. And it's good, so you can not worry about your smartphone battery, because connected to this port it won't drain it, it will use the internal battery. And anyway, it requires battery to work, even plugged to charging, it still relies on internal battery. On the bottom we have some certifications, and on top these three logos, which doesn't make sense in my opinion, they don't give any useful information. Small black and white, or actually monochrome screen, similar to one we've seen in Shanling's M9 model in the notch, and three LEDs to indicate charging, signal resolution, and to show you MQA. If you don't understand that it's MQA by the loss of quality, it also has LED indicator. There are two knobs. Both are rotating really well with good well-defined clicks, and clicks are registered perfectly. Also, long pressing this one turns it on and off. There are three outputs, 4.4 balanced and 3.5 and 6.3 mm single-ended. This knob works for different control, so let's move it closer. Simple rotation doesn't make much, but if we press it, here is menu, gain, play mode, digital filter, screen brightness, switch mode, channel balance, sync link, which is pretty important if you want to control it remotely, and screen rotation. You can rotate it 180 degrees, automatic power off, and system update if you want it, and reset all settings and current version of firmware. And pressing back, we exiting here, and pressing this button also changes, single press changes inputs, so it goes from Bluetooth to other modes. And in general, as you can see, design is good, it feels nice in hand, but of course probably it's not a device to be held in hands, it's something for the good audiophilic carry bag. Forgot to say a few words about playing from card mode. In this mode, single click of this button works as play pause, rotation changes volume, and with this button you can go to next or previous track if you'd like. So not super convenient, but actually you can start playback even without connected smartphone or another control device, and it can be a really great option for those who like to listen the whole media library in the shuffle mode. So here how it works with Eddict Player. You activate here Bluetooth mode, then you connect it to your player, smartphone, or whatever you're going to use to control it. Then you start Eddict Player, goes to the menu, opens Sync Link, and here you can see connected, paired, and available devices. So you selecting Shanling H7 and it connects. And after that, actually, Eddict Player goes to fully remote mode, so everything it shows, it's the content of the remote device. You scan the music, I already do that, so we'll save some time. And here local music, playlist recently played, and it's all getting from this device. You can see that network attached services, my device resources are disabled. So just playlists, local music, and so on. Here we're getting traditional familiar media library, with one exception, it doesn't load the album covers by default, and it focuses on the now playing. So all songs list by artists, by albums, high resolution tracks, by genres and folders. So you can select what you need browsing the folders. you know, it's pretty fun experience to browse remote device content via Bluetooth. And here is traditional now playing screen, familiar with for everyone, and here is additional feature. Here is remote control. So photo, device name, backlight brightness you can select here, digital filter, gain, channel balance, then you can switch it to UAC 1.0 mode, so it will be compatible with more devices. Lock keys when it's locked, also screen rotation, and time power saving shutdown and screen off timer. So all you can set here via menu, you can also control remotely and listen to the music with pretty good level of comfort. So interesting feature for many people, I think. And of course about the sound, you know, it will be pretty easy to describe because it's Shanling's signature sound and it's more high-end implementation. So musical, nicely balanced with a slight hint of added weight, or maybe probably it's even not added weight, it's on the low frequencies you get a bit of added weight, and on the mids it's like slightly more relaxed in terms of representation, and on top of that really nice well-defined treble. So bass is good, goes to maximum depths and so on and so forth. Of course, to get maximum sound quality you will need the USB connection or local file play mode, because Bluetooth connection actually please keep in mind that it has only LDAC, AAC and SBC. It doesn't support all aptX codecs because here used non-Qualcomm chip. And going back, bass is nice with hint of added weight, goes to maximum depths, nicely controlled. It doesn't try to be super fast, but impact is still pretty good, as well as representation of small nuances and details. So like good technical bass, but with a hint of added weight, making it sounding a bit more massive than fast. And as an example for that, I will use Juno Reactor Tempest, really good example, because it's saturated with different bass. Especially in the beginning you'll get that deep bass that goes from left channel to right and vice versa. And all that deep bass presented here really nicely. It's slightly accented, so you will enjoy it more. Sometimes it's reducing a bit of realism for the acoustic instruments, but in general resolution and technical performance is nice, so they doesn't sound like too muffled or too veiled or something like that. Mid frequencies are nice, musical, really coherent, with a really nice representation of emotions, with great weight distribution, but at the same time they are not focused on the micro contrast. It's not the device for the analytical listening. It's for those who like a bit more relaxed representation, but still with good amount of details, with proper sounding vocals and instruments, with nice and spacious stage. Especially it's good in terms of depth, because it makes a great layering and sometimes even highlighting this aspect. And example here is so it's Nazareth, this flight tonight. So Nazareth pretty aggressive, forward, not audiophilic in terms of record quality, but a bit on the harsh side, both vocal and guitars, and sometimes on the analytical devices it sounds a bit too sharp and a bit thin sometimes, but here we're getting a bit of softness, and that actually balanced sound, and this track starts sounding more balanced and closer to that vintage gear that was common at that time. Actually, at that time it was not vintage. It was like top-notch modern and high-end, but for now we consider it as a vintage. And treble, actually, you know, treble is really good. Great extension, really nice layering, proper attacks and decays, and thanks to Shanling, they decided not to soften treble, not to make it somewhere subdued or moved to the second stage as they did in the past for some of their models. Here you'll get good amount of treble, which really helps you to get proper staging, to get timber rich instruments saturated, and so on. And the last but not least example, it's Wardruna Vindavla. Sorry, not great in reading such even not English things. But this album of Wardruna, it's scald, it's full of different folk instruments and pretty high-pitched vocal, typical for the Scandinavian folk. And all of that things goes noticeably to the treble area and requires really good technical performance to represent all the characteristic sounds of these instruments and vocal. And actually this digital tone converter represents it really great. So, in terms of pairing, actually pretty universal device, good black background even with sensitive IEMs on the low gain, and enough of power to drive a lot of full-size GANs. Of course, not like something hard to drive, but for example, Odyssey MM500, it drives pretty nice, and they are not super easy in terms of driving power. Speaking about the comparisons, the only model I think it's worth comparing, it's Q7. And here we're getting traditional, FIO versus Shanling. FIO's device is more analytical, faster, more energetic, with more dynamics and more focused on the micro contrast, but here you're getting a bit more relaxed signature, sometimes it's more organic and so on. In terms of features, Q7's killer feature is that desktop mode with up to 3 watts of power, and here killer feature is micro SD card, so it's also a matter of what you prefer to get here. So as you can see, really nice, really technical device with a lot of great features, so pretty interesting one. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and of course have a nice day.